Howdy, Jacob here. Today we're looking at Tecnoglass. It is in the construction materials industry, 2.5 billion market cap on slightly higher enterprise value. It looks like they design, produce, market, and install architectural systems for commercial and residential construction in Colombia, United States, Panama, and just internationally. We see that growth has been pretty impressive post COVID. Pretty very good growth, 31%, 44% year over year the last 2 years, with return on invested capital as high as 32% in the most recent year. However, if we do look historically, we actually see that return on invested capital has not been so substantial. So I wonder if there was something in the business that happened where the operating margin is 33% and the gross margin 7 years ago, 8 years ago is 33%. Very that's pretty impressive. I wonder if that can hold, though. I'm a little skeptical at the moment just seeing this. I would definitely have to do more research to see if those margins are really going to be consistent or not. Let's look at the balance sheet. We see 104 million, 106 with short-term investments, and 169 million long-term debt. Been going down the last couple of years. 1 million short-term debt. Not very concerning, and yeah, definitely not concerning. Most recent year has about 60 million cash on hand, 60 million free cash flow. So less than 3 years of their rolling 12 free cash flow. But before the last 3 years, we actually see very little single digit free cash flow or even negative. And so use of cash recently has just kind of been paid through a dividend and paying down debt. That's not very impressive. So it looks like historically, because their return on invested capital was not as substantial as what the most, rolling 12 is, they're not reinvesting due to the fact that returns have historically not been so great, but they're really just paying a dividend with the money that they're making now. So that's kind of interesting. The payout of 16 million though is, again, if you do the most recent couple of years, it's nothing, maybe 20%, 25%. But again, are they able to keep this going? I hope so, but I just don't know so. So let's start making some assumptions here. Again, I'm going to be fairly conservative due to the fact that that's in my nature. That's who I am. I think that growth, I hate to do it, but 3% growth, 13p in price free cash flow. This is my I don't know what's going to happen. I'll just throw it with inflation, have a slightly conservative P and price free cash flow to the market at the end of 7 years. And then for margin, I mean, I don't know if I guess average, I'll do a little bit above average due to the fact that it's been so much higher recently, but I'll probably do a big range because I don't know what to expect. And then for shares, really not issuing shares through stock-based compensation or anything. So I think that's fine being relatively flat. And then I think they're able to grow that dividend probably a little bit more than they're able to grow revenue due to the fact that it's a pretty small amount of their free cash flow now. I think 5% seems reasonable per year, 5% growth, and just looks expensive right now. I think to me, if you understand this business, I could easily comprehend how, if you're able to think very confidently they're going to be growing at the 8 to 10% for the next couple years that they've done historically, have margins in the mid-teens to even low 20s. If you're confident in understanding this business and that that's going to happen, then yeah, I think that this could easily be a price that makes sense to a lot of people. But for me, based on the valuation, I think I'm a bit conservative due to the fact that I do look at long-term averages to see where the company's going. I don't just say, 1% margin here, 20% here, let's put 20. I'm taking closer to an average to where, to me, that makes more sense conservatively. I don't want the company to be a good deal at a frothy assumption setting. I want it to be a screaming deal with conservatism, and I just don't see that here. So hopefully you enjoy the video and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.